There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. That's 1 John 4:18. And I know everybody doesn't read the Bible or is religious or is Christian or any of those things, but I just wanted to open up with that today because I want to talk about fear. Fear and love can't exist in the same place, and that goes into all aspects of life. But what is fear? Um, we all know that fear is something that is part of our everyday lives. Our lives seem to be driven by what we should be afraid of, or what would happen if we don't do this, or what would happen if we do something else. It's part of advertising. The advertisers want to make you fear that you're going to miss out on something or that something great won't happen to you unless you get their product. Or the news, all the negative news stories are all about fear and making you fear this or making you fear that. And even politics, of course, we just got through not too long ago with an election year for the presidency, but the politics is just all about fear. Fearing what would happen if this guy gets elected, or if this guy gets elected, the whole world's going to fall apart. That kind of stuff. Uh, but this isn't something that's a new thing. Our lives have been conditioned to be lived with fear. And one of my favorite quotes is by Franklin Delano Roosevelt when he took over the presidency after the Great Depression, because everybody knew how bad the economy was. It was the worst it had ever been. And when the economy is bad, people tend to fear to even spend money. But of course, if you're not spending money into the economy, that hurts the economy. So what he was saying is the only thing you have to fear is fear itself, because fear is that thing that's not gonna that's gonna make things worse than what they are right now, and that's the thing that you're fearing. So the situation may be bad, but fear is only going to make it worse. And I'm thinking of fear and working on getting rid of fear in my life from a business standpoint, because a lot of the things that I fear, which, a lot of people say the acronym is false emotions appearing real, a lot of those things that I fear are just things that never really seem to happen. I'm fearing this will happen, but I've never really even seen that particular thing that I fear happen. What people will think of me, or what if I fail, or whatever. Of course, I failed before, but a lot of times when you fear failure, you're fearing before you've even tried anything. So how can you be scared if you've never even put yourself in a situation to be scared of in the first place? But anyway, that was what I wanted to talk to you about today, because fear, biologically, we're all animals as human beings, and animals had the instinct of fear to help them get out of dangerous situations if they're being preyed upon by some animal or some other enemy of theirs that could eat them or kill them. Then that adrenaline rush caused by the fear helps them to escape from that situation. But that fear was only meant to be a temporary thing, not something that you live with day in and day out, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's supposed to just get you out of that situation. And if animals out in the wild carried fear around, that same response, if they carried that around all the time, they would never eat, because they would always be running. They would always think that something's chasing them, and the adrenaline will always be running, and they won't be able to eat. So, in the same way, I'm thinking of fear in that way. If I live my life in a state of fear, I'm not going to be able to eat. I'm not going to be able to exist. And more than that, I'm not going to be able to be successful. And back to the beginning of what I was saying, love and fear are polar opposites. And something I'm working on also is being a more loving person, which that's going to kill fear just because that's what it does. Love and fear can't exist in the same space. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Getting rid of fear, what fear is, and doing whatever you can to get that mess out of your life. And I've seen so many people become successful, and anybody who's become successful has had to deal with fear on some level or another. It may be different from one person to the next, but everybody has to deal with fear, and that success is on the other side of the fear. So if you want to join me in a business opportunity that is all about making you a better person, a more loving person, and driving out that fear, visit my website at www.incometornado.com and lock arms with me and drive out the fear in your life and work yourself into a position where you can be successful. Talk to you soon.